There is a real sense of expectation building around Ibrox just now, and you can feel that something important is starting to take shape behind the scenes. Over the past few days, supporters have been talking about little else after the announcement of a significant financial boost for the club, and naturally that has sparked excitement, debate, and also a fair bit of caution. Money coming into a football club always raises hopes of progress, better players, and stronger performances on the pitch, but as many have pointed out, what truly matters is not just how much is spent, but how wisely those decisions are made over the summer. The latest investment has been presented as a sign of ambition and forward planning, a clear indication that the leadership wants to push the club to a higher level in the coming seasons. For supporters, hearing about fresh funds always creates the image of new signings, squad improvements, and a stronger challenge across all competitions. However, there is also an understanding among many fans that Rangers have spent heavily before without always seeing the consistency or dominance that everyone expected. That is why this upcoming transfer window feels different, not just because of the money available, but because of the pressure attached to every decision that will be made. The conversation now is not simply about bringing players in, but about building a squad that actually fits together, a team with balance, character, and the ability to perform week after week. In recent seasons, there have been moments of quality and big performances in important matches, but consistency across the entire campaign has sometimes been missing. That is often the difference between competing and truly dominating, and it is clear that the club wants to close that gap moving forward. One of the biggest talking points among supporters right now is recruitment strategy. Fans are no longer impressed by big transfer fees alone. What they want to see are players who understand the shirt, who can handle the pressure of playing at Ibrox, and who can deliver performances not just in the big matches, but on cold away days when the team needs resilience and discipline. Building a winning team is not about collecting the most expensive players. It is about finding the right personalities and the right footballers who can fit into a clear system and improve the overall structure of the side. There is also a growing feeling that the next few months could define the direction of the club for several years. If the recruitment is successful and the team improves in key areas, Rangers could enter the next season with real momentum and belief. But if mistakes are made again, the club risks repeating the same cycle of rebuilding and adjusting, which is something supporters are desperate to move beyond. Stability, smart planning, and a clear football identity are now seen as just as important as financial investment. At the same time, attention has also been turning toward the current squad and the players who have quietly become important figures over the course of the season. Sometimes the most important signings are not the ones who arrive with huge headlines, but the players who grow into the team, adapt to the league, and slowly prove their value through consistent performances. Over the past months, a few players have done exactly that, working their way into the starting 11 and showing that development within the squad can be just as valuable as new arrivals. Defensively in particular, there has been noticeable progress in the way the team is organized and how the backline operates. Earlier in the season, there were moments where the defense looked uncertain, especially when dealing with quick transitions and teams pressing high up the pitch. But as the months passed, partnerships started to form, communication improved, and the defensive line began to look more comfortable playing higher up the park. That change has had an impact on the entire team, because when the defense is confident, the midfield can push forward and the attack can take more risks. One of the most interesting aspects of this development has been watching certain players grow into their roles and become more confident with each match. Adjusting to Scottish football is not always easy, especially for players arriving from different leagues with different styles of play. The pace of the game, the physical battles, and the atmosphere in stadiums across the country can take time to get used to. But when a player adapts and starts to show improvement week after week, supporters notice, and that connection between player and fans can become very important. As the season moved into its later stages, there was a growing sense that the team was starting to understand the tactical approach better, particularly in how they defended from the front and tried to win the ball back quickly after losing possession. That style requires defenders who are comfortable stepping forward, midfielders who can read the game well, and forwards who are willing to press and work without the ball. When all those pieces come together, the team looks more aggressive, more organized, and much harder to play against. Looking ahead to the summer, The big question will be which players become part of the long-term project and which areas of the squad still need reinforcement. Every transfer window brings rumors, speculation, and big expectations, but this one feels especially important because it could shape the core of the team for the next few seasons. Supporters are not just hoping for new signings. They are hoping for the right signings, players who can grow with the club and help bring success back on a consistent basis. As the focus sharpens on what lies ahead, there is also a growing appreciation for how certain individuals have quietly transformed their standing within the squad over the course of the campaign. One of the clearest examples of that evolution can be seen in the defensive line, where a player who initially arrived without much noise has gradually become a key figure in the system. At the beginning, there were understandable doubts, moments of hesitation, and the challenge of adapting to a new environment. But as the weeks passed, those early uncertainties gave way to confidence and authority on the pitch. What has stood out most is not just the improvement itself, but the manner in which it has happened. Rather than sudden flashes followed by inconsistency, there has been a steady upward curve, a sense that with each appearance the player has grown more comfortable with the demands placed upon him. That kind of development is often the most valuable because it suggests a deeper understanding of the tactical structure and a stronger connection with teammates. In a league where physicality and intensity are constant, finding that rhythm is essential, and once it clicks, it can elevate the entire defensive unit. Partnerships at the back have played a massive role in this transformation. When defenders begin to trust one another, positioning becomes more natural, decisions are made quicker, and the overall shape of the team improves significantly. There has been a noticeable balance forming, with one defender willing to step forward aggressively to challenge and disrupt, while the other maintains composure and structure behind him. That combination allows the team to defend higher up the pitch, squeeze space in midfield, and regain control of matches more effectively. This tactical shift has not only improved defensive stability, but has also influenced how Rangers approach games as a whole. Playing with a higher line requires pace, awareness, and the confidence to recover quickly if the opposition tries to exploit the space in behind. It is a risky approach if not executed properly, but when done well, it can suffocate opponents and keep the game played in their half. Over recent matches, there have been clear signs that the team is becoming more comfortable with this style, and that is a direct reflection of the growing cohesion in the backline. Naturally, when a player begins to perform at that level, attention follows. Clubs across Europe are always monitoring emerging talent, especially players who combine physical attributes with tactical potential. For Rangers, this creates both an opportunity and a challenge. On one hand, it highlights the club as a place where players can develop and showcase their abilities. On the other, it raises questions about how to secure that talent for the long term and avoid losing key pieces just as they begin to flourish. The situation becomes even more interesting when you consider the financial aspect of a potential deal. In modern football, value is everything, and when a player is available for a fee that seems below their potential, it quickly attracts interest from multiple sides. That is exactly the kind of scenario that can turn a straightforward transfer into a competitive race. For Rangers, acting decisively could make all the difference, especially if the player himself sees his future at the club and believes in the direction things are heading. There is also a wider context to consider, particularly regarding how clubs reshape their squads and make difficult decisions about who stays and who moves on. When changes happen behind the scenes, whether in ownership or long-term planning, certain players inevitably find themselves at a crossroads. Some are given new opportunities, while others are deemed surplus to requirements. In those moments, timing becomes crucial, and clubs that are prepared can take advantage of situations that might not have been possible under different circumstances. For the management team, this is where their vision must align with their actions. Identifying a player who fits the system is only part of the equation. Securing that player and integrating him into the long-term plan is where real progress is made. It is clear that there is admiration for what has been shown on the pitch, particularly the ability to defend proactively, read the game, and contribute to a more aggressive style of play. Those qualities are not easy to find, and when they are already present within the squad, it makes the decision even more significant. At the same time, there is an understanding that development is an ongoing process. Even the most promising players have areas they need to improve, whether it is decision-making under pressure, positional discipline, or consistency across a full season. At this stage of his career, there is still room to grow, and that is exactly why the next move will be so important. Choosing the right environment can accelerate that progress, while the wrong situation can slow it down considerably. All of these factors combine to create a moment of real importance for the club as a whole. The upcoming window is not just about adding numbers to the squad. It is about making choices that will define the team's identity and competitiveness moving forward. Every signing, every decision, and every investment carries weight, and supporters are watching closely, hoping to see a clear plan being executed with confidence and precision. Another important element in all of this is the mentality within the squad, because success at a club like Rangers is not built on talent alone. There needs to be personality, leadership, and players who are not afraid of responsibility when the pressure is at its highest. Over the course of a long season, there are always difficult moments, dropped points, injuries, and criticism, and those are the times when strong characters inside the dressing room become just as important as tactics or transfers. The teams that win consistently are usually the ones that stay mentally strong when things are not going perfectly. Supporters have also started to talk more about identity, about what they want this Rangers team to look like when people watch them play. In the best periods, the team has looked aggressive, organized, and confident in possession, pressing high and moving the ball quickly. When that style is executed properly, it not only brings results but also creates a connection with the fans, because they can see a clear idea and a team playing with intensity and purpose. Building that identity takes time, but once it is established, it becomes the foundation for long-term success rather than short periods of good form. As the summer approaches and decisions begin to take shape behind the scenes, there is a feeling that this is a very important period in the club's development. The combination of investment, recruitment decisions, and the evolution of the current squad could define what Rangers look like next season and beyond. If the right moves are made and the team continues to develop its structure and mentality, there is every reason for optimism. But the key now is making sure that every decision taken from this point forward pushes the club in the right direction and builds a squad capable of competing at the highest level week after week. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The whispers around Ibrox have grown louder, and now they're bordering on a roar. Word circulating through the Scottish game suggests that ELLIOT has agreed terms to become the newest addition to Rangers, with an announcement believed to be edging ever closer. While nothing has been made official by the club, sources close to the situation insist the midfielder has given the green light to the proposal laid out before him. It's understood that discussions progressed swiftly once initial contact was made, with both sides keen to reach common ground. Those familiar with the talks describe the deal as effectively done, pending the usual formalities. For Rangers, the potential arrival of what would signal a clear intent to reinforce the engine room with a player known for composure on the ball and a tidy range of passing. There's a growing sense that the club are looking to reshape the midfield dynamic, and Watt's profile appears to fit that vision neatly. Supporters have already begun debating what his role might be, with some suggesting he could provide a steadying presence in deeper areas, while others reckon he offers the versatility to push further forward when required. Either way, the rumor has injected a fresh buzz into the fan base, always eager for signs of progression. From Watt's perspective, the move would represent a significant step, placing him under the bright lights and heightened expectations that come with pulling on the Rangers shirt. It's a challenge many believe he's ready to embrace. Of course, until the ink is dry and the club speaks publicly, it remains speculation. But in Scottish football, these stories rarely gather such momentum without substance. And as the chatter continues to build, it feels less a question of if, and more a question of when. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.